Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews. So, Matthew Hutchins and his family have reached a settlement with Alec Baldwin. And you might ask, what are the perks of the settlement? There's no money talked about. However, it usually does involve a passing of money. But Matthew Hutchins is actually going to be put as an executive producer. And they are going to continue the movie and continue production in January of next year. But yes, let's get into it. Josh Berger from Bounding into Comics, shout out to you. They've reached settlement, and this is the stuff that this pisses me off, folks. We have reached settlement subject to court approval, so meaning this judge has to sign off on the settlement. Now, just so you all know, subject to court approval is basically just a temporary measure. Usually a judge will sign off on it. They cannot force a civil case to go through. That I am aware of. I'm not a legal expert, but I'm pretty sure that they're not going to look at Mr. Hutchins and say, no, you are going to sue him. And you guys are going to go through with this case. That, I don't think it would happen. So this most likely will be approved for the wrongful deaths against Alec Baldwin and the Rust Production. And as part of that settlement, our case will be dismissed, and I will now executive produce the filming of Rust. It will resume with all the original principal players on board in January 2023. Look, folks, I get that a person in the entertainment industry would want their final work honored. Do not get me wrong, I am well aware of that. That's just something that they do. Not in this case. This would be an exception. I mean, I cannot speak to the man that is Matthew Hutchins, but I do have an opinion, and I'm allowed to share it. I have no interest in engaging in recriminations or attribution of blame to the producer or to the producers or Mr. Baldwin. Well, that's funny, Matthew, because he had no problem blaming your wife for her death. I've covered that. I'll even put a link to it in the card above. He blamed her, saying, well, if she wouldn't have told me to point the gun at her, she wouldn't have died. No. If safety regulations were upheld, if Alec Baldwin had done his training per Hannah Gutierrez Reed's instructions, and if the weapon didn't have live ammunition in it, she wouldn't have died. And not only that, he also had no problem blaming you, saying that, oh, you're only suing me because I'm rich. That's also something that I will leave a card to above. It is absolutely disgusting that you put a price tag on your wife's death, and you're now making sure that this film is done and finished in honor of her, when the man who is starring in this film and producing it killed her and then blamed her for it. Yeah. You realize how asinine that is. Folks, this further goes into the settlement, each side's statements, and then it goes over the FBI report, which did conclude, which I'll put another card up above, that the FBI concluded there's no way that he could have, or the weapon wouldn't have fired if he hadn't pulled the trigger. So they concluded that he did pull the trigger. fanning the gun on that weapon apparently would not cause it to go off. That's what an FBI investigation has concluded. Meaning, mostly when it comes to ballistic tests, I can speculate, I cannot say for certain, they would test every single nook and cranny of that weapon. They would load it. They would put it in the ballistic section for test firing. They would fan it to see if it would fire. They would pull the trigger to see if it would fire. They would do all of the standard and even non-standard tests. And an FBI conclusion stated that there is no way that that weapon fired without him pulling the trigger. So yeah. A settlement. Honestly, folks, if this was me, I cannot speak to Matthew Hutchins. Well, actually I can because of what he has done. He's taken the money and is going to finish the film as an executive producer. But if it was me, and my child's mother was taken from him, the love of my life taken from me, I'd want accountability. And I would not sit by as a person defames my dead wife, comes at me saying that I'm only suing because they're rich, and I would certainly not take a role on that film as an executive producer, stating or making sure that the film was finished. I'd want those who are responsible held to account, criminally and civilly. And I'm hoping that the criminal charges eventually are brought against Alec Baldwin from the Santa Fe, New Mexico DA. I am hoping to God that there is some sort of accountability where celebrities will not get a slap on the wrist for crimes they commit. Alec Baldwin took a life. Accidentally, yes. It was an accident. But still, he took a life. Accountability must be had. And Matthew Hutchins is essentially letting Alec Baldwin and his disgusting statements stand. He's allowing Alec Baldwin to badmouth his wife, to blame him for suing Alec because he's rich. If it was me, no, there would be no settlement. I would fight it tooth and nail to make sure that there is accountability for the life that was taken, as well as justice for that life being taken. That is how I would honor my family member, or the love of my life if they were taken from me by a celebrity's idiocy and negligence. Folks, that's going to be the video. You all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think of this? Just ask yourselves, folks, what would you do? Would you allow a person who blamed the victim for getting herself killed and then blames you, saying that you're only suing me because I'm rich? Would you actually settle with that person? Or would you want accountability done? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section, folks. This has been Orange Hat Reviews. Stay humble.